See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Tallawah TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Shout Out the Messenger, and you're watching Tallawah TV with the host and best. So Davis, take it away.
My Tallawahs, how are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're all based in the world. It's actually an early morning for me here in London, 1:31 to be exact. So hello to all of you. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know where you are in the world, where you're watching this stream from. How was your Monday been? I know Monday's always the worst day of the week for so many of us. Nobody likes Mondays. Who likes Mondays? Never met a person who likes Mondays in my life. Don't think that's possible. I know I did a live stream for you guys last night, and I thought, why not come back? Someone in my comment section asked, where have I been? And that was a correct question, because like I said, I have been absolutely missing. But I did say that I would now make this a regular occasion of my content for you guys. Also said that I'm going to be introducing a new topic of conversation to the channel, and then I'm going to be launching that new topic, that new bit of content for you guys before the end of the week, and I'm glad that I've managed to secure my special guest for that content, and I'll be promoting that later on in the week. So do keep your eyes open on my channel, and you will find out further information on that new conversation that I've got coming to my platform. But tonight we're doing things a little bit different. We're looking at the 12th man. We're talking about the importance of the 12th man. 12th man being us, the fans, particularly focusing on how we back our team or how some of us choose not to back our team. The point of conversation obviously focuses on the Reggae Boyz, and I have gone ahead and got someone special to sit here with me for maybe 45 minutes or so to talk about the importance of the 12th man. We're also going to be looking at the championship, nail-biting stuff in the championship, guys, between Fulham and Bournemouth. Of course, that would mean Bobby Reid, Big Heck, and Jamal, Lowe, both of them. 3 players, I should say, are all involved in that topic of conversation. We're going to be looking at the championship. We're also going to be looking at last weekend's results, the London derby between West Ham and Chelsea. That means we're going to be touching on Mr. Michail, on Antonio, and we're also going to be looking at what happened tonight at Goodison Park in Everton's stunning comeback victory over Arsenal. And my special guest, it's only right that I bring him through, is somebody who's one of the hardest working content creators, not just within the Jamaican football community, but in general, one of the most hardest working content creators. Very pleased that I was able to meet this young man at the National Stadium when the Reggae Boyz took on USA last month. It is none other than Mr. Eddy Gooner. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Crystal. How are you?
I'm well. I know how you're doing, being that your team let you down earlier on. But aside from that, how are you?
It's a Monday. Mondays are never great, but we're going through. We're pulling through.
That's true. I definitely wanted to speak to you about the importance of the 12th man. I touched on something quite similar on my channel last Monday, so a week ago, and I was getting it from a club perspective. So that game that I actually looked forward to and touched on was Manchester United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford. We all know how that one ended. So I had 2 lovely panelists talk about what they think the 12th man means to them, and I thought it would be interesting to see if we could do the same for the Reggae Boyz and talk about what the 12th man means to yourself.
Okay.
How do you feel about being the 12th man? What do you think your role is, or what does the 12th man mean to you?
It means a whole lot, you know. Basically, we're there to spur on the team, you know, lift the team up, especially in bad times. You know, cheer for the 90 minutes plus. And if we do that, I think we should be okay. You know, in Jamaica, we don't tend to cheer a lot, but I think that's something we need to change. The culture has been to just sit and watch. You know, when there's an excitement or opportunity, then we jump up and say, "Yay!" You know, but I think we're changing a bit. Persons are, you know, cheering a lot more, and I think, you know, that's good for us.
That's quite interesting that you've touched on that obvious culture difference between perhaps the way fans back their team in places like Europe, so the UK, and you compare that. Maybe you can look at like South American countries as well. Compare that to how our fans back the Reggae Boys. Maybe not so much the Reggae Girls, but there's a clear difference there. What would you like to see change or do things differently going forward, especially now that we're approaching that January transfer window, that January World Cup
Window.
qualifying period?
And basically, you know, want to see the fans come out. The government, you know, has stated that they might not have half capacity. So I think if we can pull out the fans, the passionate fans, the real fans, and we should be able to pull it off. It's all about getting the right type of fans in the stadium for me. You have a lot of persons, you know, the bougie type that going to sit and not share a lot, take a lot of, you know, take a lot of photos and videos, but we want the passionate fans to really help spur on the team. I think that's the change if we have the type of fans getting into the stadium. And I think the vaccination thing is kind of hindering us, you know,
Mhm.
getting those type of fans in the stadium.
Can
But I believe once we have the core fans,
yeah.
yeah.
I think you've actually hit the nail on the head there. You was talking about the core fans, those organic, authentic football fans that bring that natural
Mhm.
vibration. But at the moment, you touched on the vaccination, which is part of the process of one helping you to nail down your ticket and gaining entrance to the stadium. But there's also that conversation around the ticket prices. I don't know, but I was looking at the ticket prices, and me being somebody who's based overseas, even I was like, this is a little bit too pricey. If I was going there as a regular fan, thankfully I went there as a reporter for my paper, the Voice newspaper, so I didn't have to pay for my ticket. But as a normal everyday person, you are pretty much priced out of watching your team play, or am I wrong for drawing up that assumption?
I mean, for bleachers, the 2000, I don't think that's bad because over the
Mm,
years we've seen, you know, years ago, previous campaigns we've seen 1,500, 1,000.
yeah,
So inflation and all of that. I think the 2000 is okay for bleachers. However, for
yeah.
grandstand, that's kind of pushing it a bit, and the normal person won't be able to go to the grandstand.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. I know, like I said, guys, in my brief introduction there, that Eddie was at the USA versus Jamaica, or the Jamaica versus USA game at the office, and that's where I had the pleasure of finally meeting him in the flesh. We did speak briefly behind, well, backstage, talking about stuff that we picked up on inside the stadium. But what were some of the positives that you picked up on, and some of the not so positives that you picked up on from our fans?
I mean, to start with the positives, I believe Greg Lay, he got a good ovation when he came in. You know, persons were
Yes.
were really backing Greg Lay. You know, encourage him, and they did well there. But however, certain players like Javon Watson, Haka,
Mm-hmm.
he definitely got it from the crowd, and a lot of you know words that were being thrown at towards top of the coach as well as
Mm-hmm.
Javon Watson. I didn't like some of those stuff that I heard, but as I said earlier, it's part of the culture. And if Jamaicans are not pleased, they're going to let it be known.
I'm glad that you said that, because it just tells me that we're on similar lines in terms of you saying that you didn't like a few of the stuff that was said. I'd like to emphasize that Eddie quite rightly put it, that it is part of fan culture, is part of football culture. That doesn't mean that he necessarily agrees with it, but he's absolutely right. It is part of the culture. It's what comes with the game. And also, aside from Javon Watson, where I was sitting, I could also hear abuse aimed at Leon Bailey as well. And that one was a little bit unsettling. It was unsettling for me. Aside from the fact that it was abusive words that was being thrown at him, I think I must have been sat maybe 2, 3, or 4 seats in front of his in front behind his missus, his mom, his son, and
his
some
son,
close relative, right? And I'm thinking to myself, if I can hear the abuse that you're
they can
hurling
hear
at
it as well.
surely they can hear it as well. And I'm sure that's not pleasant. You can only imagine how they must feel when you're completely hammering either their partner, their dad, their son, relative, basically their loved one. It must be quite uncomfortable for them. So I think that there's definitely things that we can work on as a fan base, particularly when we're at games. I don't think that now is the right time for us to be divided, especially if you go into the games hurling the abuse. That's not going to solve the problem. You can, however, amplify your voice. There was a moment towards the latter end of that game where you saw Damian Lowe raising his arms and just trying to like pull the fans closer to him, basically telling them make noise. I'm not sure if you picked up on that as well.
Yeah, I saw it, Tristan. He was
Yeah,
trying
and
to
it's
galvanize the stadium.
exactly. Do you think that you touched on us galvanizing, coming together as one nation, one team, truly backing the boys, especially when we're inside those stadiums? Do you think that could be something extra that could potentially give the guys that extra bit of energy to go out and grind out those necessary results that need to start coming our way?
Yeah, most definitely. And we heard from the players. Players have always been saying that the 12 man is very important, and helps them in games. Push them along. So it's very very important for us. But we have to behave ourselves at the same time. We have to be cheering and not so much criticizing. I know it's difficult because at times we're extremely upset and we're sad, and we might say stuff that we don't want to say. But at the end of the day, we're all here to support the boys, and we should do that.
Absolutely. I'm going to echo that as well. Each to their own. Myself or Eddie, we can't tell people how to behave. We can't tell how the fans are to conduct themselves. But if I was playing an arm and a leg to go and watch my team play, or my national or my club team play, I'm not going to be spending my 90 plus minute hurling abuse. I'd much rather be sat there cheering and doing my job as the 12th man, because the players definitely, most certainly, feel off of that vibe. Which player do you think enjoyed their reception when they're back at the office from that game against the USA?
I believe Antonio.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely Antonio. He strived,
Definitely.
a lot of cheers going up Antonio. He did very well. And a few others as well. Who else? Maybe a Damian Lowe, got a good reception as well.
Yes, I agree with you on that one. Damien was on his vice captain duties, like I said to you, trying to galvanize the fans. Eddie quite rightly put it that the players do want us as the 12th man to get behind them. I'm actually quite pleased that you touched on Michail Antonio, because it's almost as if you've read my mind. You've walked right into my next topic of conversation, and it's only right. I know that you bleed red. Red of Arsenal, so you're probably not, jumping for joy when you see that West Ham went and done what some might have seen as the expected, went and secure a comeback victory against their London rivals, Chelsea. That was the early lunchtime kickoff in the Premier League. What do you think of Michail Antonio and West Ham so far this season?
They have been very impressive, very very impressive. I know they played well last season, but to come this season, especially when they have Europe, they're doing well in Europe as well. So many thought they would drop off in the Premiership, but they've been holding their own, doing well in both competitions. The talisman, as I said before, Antonio has been excellent for them, top scorer. He had a drought, probably 5-6 games without a goal or an assist. He got that in the last game, helped with the winner. That goal was a very lucky goal, but the Hammers, I believe the Hammers, they deserve the win against Chelsea, and they fought well.
They listen. I'm sure my team and your team wouldn't mind a bit of luck. Speaking of luck, Everton, Arsenal had a bit of luck. If we're gonna talk about luck, we're gonna be talking about them later on. But just focusing on Michail Antonio and West Ham, do you think they can go all the way and nail down that fourth spot in the Premier League? Because, like you said, they are doing quite well. I know many, including myself, were looking at whether or not they can keep up
Yeah.
with Europa League competition and football and competition from the league as well. And so far, they're doing quite well.
I mean, the January window, I think that would be the important part for them. I think they need a striker. They need somebody to fill in if Antonio is not there. They're kind of weak up top. They need another striker. They might need another attacker. And I think playing in Europe will eventually take its toll on the team. It's a very thin team, and they have a lot of good teams chasing them. So I don't know if they'll be able to continuously, get the W's. Arsenal chasing. You have Spurs there, Manchester United making a comeback. So a lot of teams fighting for that fourth spot. So I doubt they're able to hold on to it.
It's going to be an interesting one, Eddie, because for the love of God, I can't figure out who's going to get that fourth spot. I said it on my live stream yesterday. I think Manchester United are they are already tapping into their honeymoon period, and that can be dangerous in itself if they can tap into their honeymoon period during the December run of games, and they're going to put themselves in probably pole position to finish in fourth place. So yeah, it just goes to show that it's going to come down to momentum, whether West Ham can hang on. At the moment they're doing just that, and it might take something special to derail them and not their confidence.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Manchester United have a very good run of fixtures. I believe 10 are so winnable games. So you should look out for Manchester United.
Definitely look out for the Red Devils of Manchester, because I think they're like I said, about to hit their honeymoon phase, and that could be disastrous for the rest of the sides who might think that they can or are within a chance of finishing in the fourth position. Sterling, good day to yourself. I'm not sure where you are in the world, but good afternoon or good evening, or maybe you have an early morning like myself. It's now 1:45 in the morning, Sterling. I hope that you are doing all right. Myself and my panelists, we're doing okay. So thank you so much for asking. Anyone else that's surprised you in the Premier League so far? We know Brentford. Brentford had a lively start. Now they're a little bit settled, a little bit unsettled. Game against Leeds, that was some game, came so close, narrowly close to basically sealing victory. But it wasn't meant to be. But who has surprised you so far in the Premier League?
I mean, Brentford, starting off well, but for me, the biggest surprise is Leeds United.
Really?
I don't think they should be where they are in the table. I know, they have had a lot of injuries, but it's quite surprising, losing Bamford and some other players. So they've really disappointed me. I believe they should be high up in the table.
They are another one. They're an interesting club. I'm seeing there's conversations around a takeover, a possible £400 million takeover, if I'm not mistaken, for Leeds. So there's clearly an indication that they want to stay up in the Premier League. I don't think they want a repeat of what's happened to them in the past. So I'm sure they're going to be doing all their best, but that all starts with results. It's one thing being part of the rich club, but at the end of the day, it is the results that speak for themselves. Let's look a little bit further outside of the Premier League, and let's look at the Championship. Nail-biting stuff that's going on in the Championship at the moment. I did a review some days ago. What is it, some days ago? Yes, it was a bit. It would have been on Friday night that gave you guys basically what I saw as the weekend curtain opener smashing game with Fulham taking on Bournemouth, and that ended in a 1-all draw Friday just gone. If we look at that table in the championship, it is narrowly close, guys, extremely close at the championship. We have Fulham leading on 44 points, but that's just 1 point better than Bournemouth. Bournemouth are sitting on 43 points. Other clubs that you might want to keep an eye on if you're following the Reggae Boyz would be QPR, who are sitting in 5th place on 35 points. Further down, you also have Luton Town. That's Amari Bell's Luton Town in 12th place, sitting on 28 points. If you keep on going down, you've got Preston North End, who are on, that's Daniel Johnson.
Daniel Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, 18 points, 25 points. KC Palmer's Bristol City, they're in 17th place with 26 points. Reading are in 20th position. That is Mr. Liam Moore's side, and they're sitting on 21 points. And if you look right bottom of the table, not looking good for Ravel Morrison and Derby County. They are absolutely rock bottom, and they are sitting on 1 point. Not looking good for Derby County and Ravel Morrison. Where do you think he's gonna be come next season?
I don't think he'll be at Derby for sure. They just might get relegated. I see him looking maybe signing for Unattached FC next season in the January window or after the end of the season. He should be looking for another club soon because he's going nowhere with Derby County. I'm sorry.
Yes, not looking good for Ravel. I would love to say it feels pointless me saying I hope they turn it around, because like I said, 21 matches played so far, you have 1 point. That is just just disastrous. I feel for them. But let's go back up and look at the top of that championship. I know if you are a Reggae Boyz fans, you are smiling from ear to ear. We could potentially have 3 players coming up from the championship to the Premier League, guys. That being Michail Hector, depending on his club situation with Fulham, whether or not he's going to be gone in the January transfer window, that remains to be seen. As it stands, it is Michail Hector, Big Heck, Bobby Reid, and Jamal Lowe. Let's remind ourselves that he's playing for Bournemouth. How do you think this one's going to pan out, Eddie? Who you backing? I can't say who you're backing because that might be a little bit unfair considering we have a trio of players. Right. Who do you think is going to pull this one off and win the championship?
I mean, for now, I think my money is on Fulham. They're the typical yo-yo team, up and down. Not so good to stay up in the Premiership, but totally better in the Championship. So I expect them to make that comeback immediately. I hope Bournemouth can also, secure a playoff spot as well. We'd love to see 3 Reggae Boyz in the Premiership next season, and I think Jamal Lowe came very, very close last season, and I think he deserves it this time around with Bournemouth. Different team, but still deserve it.
It's such a tricky one. I keep feeling like we have so much to say, and it's pretty much very identical in what you've just said with Fulham being that yo-yo team. They seem to always get business done in the championship, but when they come up, it's a totally different ball game. Struggling to perform. Players like Mitrovic just absolutely smashing the championship. Yeah. But we've seen when it comes to the Premier League, he looks like his unusual self. So clearly that would mean that if they do come up, whether that be winners as of the championship or through playoff spots, if they do come up, then surely that would mean they have to go and do some hefty reinforcements, no?
Yeah, and I think the last time they did that, brought in the likes of, I remember, Siri, that midfielder there, Sessegnon. They did that, but I think they didn't spend the money wisely. So I think this time around, they should spend it more on EPL-proven players, because, it's all about spending the money to stay up. They have the quality in certain areas. You mentioned Mitrovic, Bobby Reid as usual. They have the talent, Big Heck, they have the talent in certain areas, but they just need to have a little bit more going forward.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree with you on that. I do not mind who wins the championship as long as it's one of our trios that's in that top
Yeah,
position. That does not mean we're writing off QPR over there with Andre Gray.
Andre
Like I
Gray.
said, they are sitting in fifth position on 35 points. Anything is possible in football. It's the results that matter. So maybe as we complete the heavy Christmas fixtures, we might see QPR move further up in the championship table. So it's almost look as if we're at least going to get one or two Jamaican coming up in the Premier League, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much it looks that way. And we're hopeful. We want to see that happen. We want to see that, become a reality.
Yeah.
And, it looks very promising for us. It's early, it's like, early days, but, we're hopeful.
And I touched on whether or not you think that Ravel Morrison will be moving clubs. I guess the same could be said for Big Heck. What's your thoughts on Big Heck? Can you see him going elsewhere in the January transfer window?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know the contractual arrangement. I don't know the contract situation with Big Heck, but his name has been touted out there in the media. So a move is possible. So,
Mm.
fingers crossed. And I hope if it's a move, it's maybe a move to another good team. We don't want him to go back in his career. So
Definitely not.
upward movement for Big Heck.
Definitely not. You're absolutely right about that. So hopefully he can sort something out. Um, it's just a matter of, I think for him, it's a matter of nailing down those game times. He
Game time.
definitely needs some game time under his belt, don't he?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We've seen him on the bench for Fulham, for the past few seasons, and it's not good. It's not good for morale. It's not good for his confidence. And we want a player that is playing for the Reggae Boys. Maybe who knows? Maybe in the future he can be added active squad. So but we need him to be active. We need him to be playing for Fulham or any other team. Get the minutes
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, so is that an indication that you're a fan? I have to ask that question. Fan of Big Heck, because every time I ask my guests that come on about Big Heck, it's very rare that they do go ahead and back Mr. Michael Hector. So is this someone who, if he does nail down a club in the January transfer window, is this someone who you would say, you know what, I don't mind him being recalled?
I mean, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan, but he's Jamaican. He's a reggae boy. I want to see him do well, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he had played well in the team on previous occasions. But him playing in midfield is not the position for him. So
Mm-hmm.
if he gets back into the team, who knows? Maybe if we play a back three, he can get into the centre back position. Who knows? But he's good for morale, and we have players in the team that is in the team for vibes. So I see no reason why we could have a Big Heck back in the team in the future.
It's an interesting one that as well, because I am actually wanting Big Heck to do well, because I think he's been a good servant for his country over the years. I really
Yeah,
like his attitude. I know you touched on the vibes, and that's not you trying to say that he's a joke player, or because some people might look at that and think, what do you mean by vibes? That basically what Eddie's touching on is that positive energy. And I
exactly.
think I obviously don't know Michael Hector, but he does strike me as somebody who does have good energy, does have that vibes, and you need that. You need that most certainly when you're trying to boost morale within your team. So
And,
obviously you
and
have some. Yeah, carry on, Eddie.
he has that big C word. It's not the virus. He's committed. A
Yes,
lot, a lot of persons have been calling out players for not being committed. We
yes,
can never say that about Michael Hector. He's been
never.
there over the years. Always there when called upon, even to play certain teams. Certain games. Not favorable games, but he's there. He's there with the team. So big up, Big Heck.
Definitely massive big up to Michael, Hector. All the best with your club situation. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye to see where you're going in January because we both want to see you get some matches under your belt at club level, and then you can see where you go from there. We've got Sterling, who's clearly backing Michael Hector. Sterling saying that he deserves a call up. I'm going to leave that comment there for a brief period. I'm going to touch on something slightly different since again, Eddie, since we're touching on um players who could potentially might leave their club. I'm sure you saw the news over the weekend with Mr. Blair Turgott. His side was relegated from the Swedish top division. They a bit like Derby County and Ravel Morrison, absolutely rock bottom of their table. Are you expecting him to move away from that club, and more importantly, where do you want to see him play?
Um, I think he has done well over there, and I think teams must have seen the good work. So I'm hoping that
Mm-hmm.
he can get his move away. I don't know if he wants to play in a lower league again,
Mm-hmm.
especially over there. But I hope that he can get a move back to England. He has been playing there before and didn't really cut it, and he had to go elsewhere. But I think it's time for him maybe to get back to England,
I
maybe to
definitely,
play the championship or so.
yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think when you look at Blair Turgott's track record, if I'm not mistaken, is like possibly spent a year there at his last string of clubs. If I could get up his um see if I can go for something that's a little bit reliable um in terms of where he's been for his clubs over the last couple of seasons. This is why I think compared to the players that we have mentioned, Big Heck and also Ravel Morrison is probably the likely of the three to most certainly be on a move. He was with the West Ham under 21s 13 to 14 season,
Yeah.
14 to 15 he went to Coventry. The following season he went to Leighton Orient. Following season he went to Bromley. Following season he went to Stevenage. In the same season he was at Bournemouth, went back to Stevenage in the same season, bouncing back to Bournemouth, and obviously made his way over to Sweden after all of that. But between each club, there's roughly been like a 1 year gap between each club. So there's for me, there's an indication that he might just be on the move,
Yeah.
searching to play in another league.
Yeah, he seemed to be a one-hit wonder, staying, one season. He's a bit of a journeyman. It's obvious. He's a
Yeah,
journeyman,
yeah.
and I hope he can settle down in one team.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hope for Blair Turgott.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Journeyman is probably a good way of looking at it, guys. I did say I'm going to be staying on here with my special guest, Mr. Eddy Gooner. Also, guys, if you have not checked, I'm not sure if Eddie's face is familiar to yourself. It should definitely be familiar to yourself. Like I said, one of the best content creators out there from Sports Down the Middle. Don't forget to head over to Sports Down the Middle and subscribe to their channel. Also, check them out on Instagram and also on Twitter as well. Wonderful, wonderful content from those guys. And Eddie is behind it as well, instrumental in those content creation that Sports Down the Middle is pushing for your athletics, your football, and all other sports. Do go ahead and check them out for me. Are you guys available on Facebook as well, Eddie?
No, we're not on Facebook, unfortunately.
Okay, but you're across all the other platforms, right?
Yeah, yes, we are.
There you go, guys. Do go ahead and please do check them out. It's definitely content that you will most certainly enjoy. Like I said, I did say to you guys that I'll be staying on here with my special guest for about 45 minutes. So we've got another 10 minutes to go. So if you have any questions for myself or Mr. Eddy Gooner, do go ahead and throw those questions our way. His name is Eddy Gooner. Guys, that's a clear indication as to who he supports, right? You can see he's not looking too happy at the moment. So we have to touch on that game, Eddie. Have you seen the goal from Damari Gray?
Yes, there was a beauty. What a goal, Crystal. What a goal. I'm not mad. When I saw that finish, I could get upset. It was a wonderful
Yeah,
goal. And to
yeah.
beat Ramsdale like that, no chance for Ramsdale. I can't fault Arsenal on that goal.
Yeah, it's such a weird one because when the goal went in, I'm a bit like yourself. I was happy for him, but it being my team, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I know Eddie was at work. I was fortunately at home, and I was watching the game from start to finish. And in fairness, Arsenal got away with one that could have been an absolute hammering. Should have probably have been at least two more goals for
Everton.
Everton, but unfortunately, VAR is not their friend. VAR ruled them out for offside, inches, probably milliliters
Yeah.
offside. But sometimes the game can do that to you.
Yeah, and the thing I always say about VAR, VAR give it and VAR take it away. So we just have to live with it. It's there, the technology is there. We've been crying out for the technology, it's there, so
Uh-huh.
we have to use it.
Yeah, Arsenal definitely got away with one. There could have been an embarrassing score line for Arsenal. So I think 2-1, you should probably eat a bit of humble pie and move
Yeah.
on to the next game. But how are you feeling about Arsenal this season?
Up and down, a very, very bad start, but we had a few easy games to follow up, and we capitalized on that basic pretty much, playing the likes of Norwich and so on. So we got a little bit of momentum. 8 games undefeated in our competitions, but again, meeting the big guns like Liverpool, bring us back down to earth. Again, going away to Manchester United. The worst possible time to play Manchester United, and they got the number of us again and again to come to Everton. Everton has been struggling, and typical Arsenal, we give them the win. So up and down season, I think we played well in patches, and we could have at least try and cement the top four. But we fell down, and West Ham dropped points. We also dropped points. So we have to keep tugging away to see if we can at least get fifth or sixth.
Um, do you think that's likely to happen though? Because these are the games you touch on on Everton. Everton were on a losing streak until
Yeah,
they came up against Arsenal. Like, pretty much any team that's playing Arsenal, Christmas is
yeah,
around the corner. I can guarantee
exactly,
you.
exactly.
Arsenal about to give you a nice Christmas present. So any team in the Premier League, you must be rubbing your hands together to play against Arsenal because they seem to be dishing out 3 points left, right, and center. There wasn't, and like I said, I know you was at work or making your way home from work, Eddie. So we can't talk too much about Everton, but there wasn't really much in that from Arsenal. I was struggling to see what they were trying to create. Up top, you had Lacazette up top with Aubameyang sitting on the bench. But even then, with
What
that
do you think
change,
about that?
I think it's a change that it was needed. It was needed. I'm a little bit
Yeah.
tired of these chances, these easy chances, these tap-ins that
Yep.
Aubameyang has been missing time and time again. Yes, people can say, they can argue all day long and say that the service needs to be better, but it doesn't get any better than a tap in. If you can't put away your tap in, then what can you do? Tonight, you didn't see nothing from Lacazette. You can argue and say the service needed to be better, lack creativity in the middle of the park. Was good to see Granit Xhaka back, but I just thought it was bizarre that you're not substituting him first game back from an injury and you want him to carry out the full 90 minutes. You're also bringing on Eddie and Nketiah. No disrespect to Eddie and Nketiah, but if this is a player that's not nailing down a contract, if you're not trying to,
Yeah.
if you're
We
not trying
don't
to get,
need him. We don't
yeah, if
need
you're
him
not
on the
trying,
pitch.
why is he on the pitch? I don't know. I think at that moment you should have been bringing in your captain. Yes, we're saying that he's not been in good form, but it just didn't make sense to me that you're going to be bringing on Eddie and Nketiah. You also substituted Kieran Tierney, both Kieran Tierney and Granit Xhaka coming back into the team. and you choose the person who set up the assists. I think it was Kieran Tierney. You got the assist for Arsenal's goal, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back and
Yeah.
double check that one. But I think it was Kieran
Yeah, it was Tierney.
Tierney, right, for Odegaard's goal.
Odegaard, yeah.
We all know that Kieran Tierney's got that added bit of energy, able to create assists, able to score goals. I would have thought with Granit Xhaka on the card that you might go ahead and just take him off, being that he is coming back from an injury. But Mikel Arteta does what Mikel Arteta does best in terms of game management. Also interesting to see them try to, you probably laugh at this, Eddie. They were trying to time waste, and I think they were trying to time waste when the clock hit the 1 hour mark. And I just thought, what type of game planning is this? It was just comical stuff from them.
Cowards.
Well said.
Who tried to do that? Ramsdale?
Not Rams, that's just the team. I don't
Just the team.
recall Ramsdale doing any deliberate time wasting, but most certainly the outfield players did try to time waste.
I don't mind if Ramsdale do it, because he's very cunning. So
Yeah.
I don't mind if he taking a long while to take the goal kicks. I don't mind Ramsdale. He's very experienced and he brings something different to Arsenal. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
But you said Xhaka started and played the 90 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, Xhaka, I'm pretty sure he finished off that game as well. Let me go through this. I can't actually go through it. My phone's not letting me.
And to come straight in the team and play 90
straight
minutes.
into the team. I'm gonna go back and see if I can get that up to see if Granit. I don't think Granit was substituted, but let me just go back and check that for you to see what those so we had the first goal that went in just on the brink of half time. We had Tavares come in. That was our first. This was literally, and I thought this is why it was a little bit strange, because Xhaka picked up his yellow card in the 63-minute, and we know what Xhaka is capable of. And then 2 minutes later, in the 65 minutes, he took off Kieran Tierney, and brought in Tavares. So that was our first substitution. Second substitution, in the 71st minute, he took out Gabriel Martinelli and brought in Eddy Nketiah. And then Everton went and leveled the scoring. And the third substitution was Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang coming in for Alexander Lacazette. So yeah, he did see out the full 90, and surely that just means, I know you don't have Champions League or Europa competition to look on to, but surely that means Granit's going to be feeling a little bit sore in the morning.
Let's hope. I know it's a quick turnaround for the next fixture. I thought Arteta just wanted to give him the 90 minutes under his belt. I do agree with that. I think we should slowly insert players back into the team. And I don't think Lukanga has been playing well to just walk in and take his game. I don't really like that.
That's always been like the Arsenal way, though. I know, like yourself, Warner. I'm not sure. There is another Eddy Gooner here. I thought this was you, Eddie. I thought, how is he speaking, looking into the camera, and typing away at the same time? Eddie said, "That's my name."
Gooner
so
Eddie. That's
who
a
is
clone.
the real Eddie?
That's a it's a clone. Gooner Eddie. All right. Big up yourself.
Gooner Eddie said, "That's my name." But going back to what you said about players walking into the team, that just seems like that's something that we have been seeing for possibly the best part of maybe 15 seasons now, because we've seen it with Arsene Wenger, didn't we? With favoritism, every manager, every head coach is going to have their favorite. We saw it so much with one player in particular, Jack Wilshere. That's no different not to what we're now seeing with Granit Xhaka, is it?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. Historically, we've been doing this. Coaches will always have their favorites, and Arteta loves Granit Xhaka, so we can't do anything about that. At times we don't want to say Xhaka being on the bench, but he's a good passer of the ball. But when it comes on to making challenges, he's not really smart, and has been giving up. I saw the highlights, and I saw him make a terrible tackle on the right hand side of the pitch, picking up a yellow card. That yellow card, and that's just typical Shaka. So you know, he's a liability for me more than anything else.
Yeah, Jaka is a bit of a he's a tricky player. There's a comment here in the comment section. So I'm sure pretty sure someone is asking about Papa, but I cannot find the question. I felt like they were asking, oh, I think this is it. Um
Big up Pagan. Big
Pagan,
up.
he's always here. This is a question from Sterling. This one has been buzzing, just rattling my head, Eddie. I don't know if you can help me out with this one. But what do you make of um what Sterling has said? Let me just reread that again. Standard female coach. Um
Who's that standard female coach?
that's what I'm thinking. Standard female coach. Interesting choice of words there, Sterling. Um I just think rather than gender, because there will be some female coaches. If you're looking at the WSL, the top flight of women's football in England, there would be some female coaches who wouldn't look at that because of what they're doing at club level for their respected clubs. So equally, if you cannot afford to pay the male coaches, then chances are you probably can't afford to pay any well established female coach. So that's an interesting question. What do you make of that one, Eddie?
First to touch on JFF being able to afford a new coach. I think they can. The money is there. They're just twiddling their fingers trying to figure out what to do with that money. But because Rudolph Speed, the chair of the technical committee, had said that money is available. There's also a plan A, B, and C, according to him. As it relates to the getting a top-notch or standard female coach, I don't think that's possible right now in the game. We're still trying to get black managers, especially in England, to get jobs. A lot of black managers out there. You can look at Dwight York, has been there for ages, wanting to get a job, and that's still not possible. We're seeing the same white managers being rotated in the EPL and in the Championship. And so I think first we need to get that sorted out before we're able to to bring a female coach into the men's game.
That's an interesting one there. I think we are probably decades away from that one.
Yeah.
But let me go and read what everybody else is saying in this comment section here. Eddie, I'm sure you've seen the news about Kenwyne Jones, haven't you, with his recent managerial appointment. I don't know if you have access to your Twitter. See if I can get that up for you.
Where is he now? I haven't seen that news.
He has been appointed. I just want to see if it's head coach or yeah, it is head coach. I was trying to see if it's a manager or a head coach. So he was recently, I believe it was last month, recently announced as the head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago senior women's national team. So that's a good look for Kenwyne Jones. Remember him playing in the Premier League, and he was a delightful player to watch. Always secretly supported him because he's from the Caribbean.
Yeah, good player. I think he played for Stoke City, right?
Nightmare.
Yes, it's always difficult to go up against Stoke City with Kenwyne Jones and our very own Ricardo Fuller.
Yes.
But it's good to see Caribbean footballers making that move and getting those managerial jobs. So big up Kenwyne Jones. Hope he can do a job, but not as good as a job. But hopefully he can do a job because we and Trinidad are still rivals. So.
Absolutely. Sorry, Trini fans, if you are listening, we do hope if there is one team from the Caribbean that's going to the World Cup, sorry guys, but we're going to be back in our black, green and gold. The West Indian, the Reggae Girls, I should say. I don't know where I'm getting West Indian from. This isn't cricket. We're going to be back in the black, green and gold for the Reggae Girls. So sorry about that to our Trini viewers. But moving along, this is quite interesting here. From Warren. I should have actually asked you before we go, Eddie. What's your thoughts on um Conte, and also Spurs? Because they have not. I didn't hear you touch on them in that race for top four. Do you think they can sneak their way into it? If we look back last season, it did become narrowly close between
Yeah.
the race for the top four, didn't it? Even Man U finishing in second, it was just like, how did you do that? But yeah, it was narrowly close last year.
Yeah. They're another up and down team. They have a great manager in Conte. I'm a huge fan of Conte. Very good manager, and he's able to turn around teams. But Hurricane, the big elephant in the room, what one goal? As Fred has more goals than Hurricane in the Premiership. So Hurricane needs to pull up his socks. I don't know if he's still thinking about Man City, but they will go as far as Hurricane takes them. And for now, he's not firing. I think they need a firing Hurricane to secure that top four spot.
Well, I'll be hoping that that isn't the case. Sorry, Mr. Webster.
Yeah,
Where's Webster?
exactly.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, Warren. But I'll be hoping that Harry doesn't find his shooting boots anytime soon. And you know the reason why I'm saying that. Guys, let me know if you have any final questions for either myself or Eddie, because we will be leaving in a matter of a few more minutes. I'm closing off on this stream. So let me know if you have any final words to say. It says if Harry is scoring, you're all in trouble. We know that's why we don't want it to happen. Warren. Let's go back and see what Wun Wun is saying. By the way, massive thank you to everyone who's in the comment section, everyone who's tuned in, everyone who's hit that like button. Thank you so much. It's almost 2:30 here in London, so I'm going to be going in the next couple of minutes. Any final words from yourself, Eddie?
Well, speaking of the 12 man, I'm hopeful that Jamaica can get the fans out. The government can give us a boost, get the fans out, and we're able to back the team and support the team come January. And big up to you as well. You're doing well. Sacrificing up 2 a.m. in the morning. A lot of hard work. So you guys should subscribe and like. Continue doing the good work, and it's been a pleasure, being on the show. I enjoyed myself. So
thank you, Eddie. Thank you for your kind words, and I'll echo the same thing to yourself as well. Absolutely love the content that yourself and the guys over at Sports Down the Middle are putting out. Like Wun said, thanks for the contribution. Always a pleasure. Sitting here and speaking with you. We're definitely going to be doing this more often. Final question before you go. Can we do it as of next January? January coming up is only next month, guys. We're in December.
Can we beat Mexico? Can we beat Mexico?
Can we do what now is the unthinkable and actually qualify, Eddie? That's the real question.
Crystal, I'm not going to answer that.
You don't want to? You don't?
I'm trying to take it game by game. All right. Enough. So I saw a lot of persons thinking about the fourth place playoff against Oceania and who we should play against, and I'm not thinking so far. I'm looking game by game. Let us see how we perform against Mexico before, So I'll take it game by game before I can make a judgment. I don't want to say we're going to win it or we're going to qualify, but I'm trying to remain humble and go game by game.
All right, here's a different question for you then. Can we do it against Mexico? Because I think, in fairness, they got away with one in our opening World Cup qualifier.
Yeah, we play them well over there in the Azteca. I believe we can beat them, definitely, most definitely. CONCACAF is very difficult when you have to go away, and that's why our fans are very important. It's always difficult to go away, and teams normally don't perform as well away from home. So we are hoping to capitalize on that, and I think we can. We can, definitely we can. Get the team right. I don't know who will be the coach. That's a big question mark as it stands. But as long as the right players are out there, I think we can get the job done.
It's interesting. Are you in favor of a new coach? Do you think a new coach could turn what looks a little bit bleak at the moment? You think a new coach could turn that around in such a short time frame?
Yeah, yes and no. It all depends on who the coach is. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really fancy the names that are being called. So, I don't really fancy those names, but it can be done. I won't sit here and say the new coach, can't come in and get the job done because we all know about the new manager bunks. When new
Mm-hmm.
managers, start coaching teams, they start to get results immediately and performance
Honeymoon.
start to change in a honeymoon period. So if we could get a honeymoon period, 4 games, that would be good for us. So I'm hopeful.
Interesting, interesting. Someone is saying Pagan is down here saying yes, turn around anything would be better. Definitely now know how the bulk of the fan base is feeling in regards to our manager, Mr. Theodore Tupper Whitmore. That's a whole conversation in itself, guys. I don't think we have time for that. I was only supposed to
Yeah.
be speaking to Eddie for 45 minutes. Just before we go, Eddie, I want to thank you so much for blessing me with a moment of your time. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Also to the guys in the comment section as well, thank you for sitting this one out with me. We almost been here for an hour, but I'm going to close it off before we hit that 60-minute. But nevertheless, thank you so much for each of you tuning in with me along this live stream. Like I said, I'm going to be introducing a new show before the end of the week, and it is going to be special. I'm looking forward to this one, Eddie. It's quite
Yeah.
personal, and I'm looking forward to hitting off this one.
I'll be watching. I'll be watching. I know the persons in the comments will be watching as well.
Thank you. I'm laughing because someone said my line, and I think this is the second time that they've done this, and I actually find it quite sweet. Eddie, before we go, where can everyone find you and Sports Down the Middle?
All right, Sports DTMJA on all socials. That's Twitter, Instagram, Sports Down the Middle on YouTube. And if you
There
want to
you go.
contact me, I'm Eddy Gooner on Twitter.
There you go, guys. Do follow Eddy Gooner on Twitter, and also make sure you follow Sports Down the Middle across all available platform. Thank you guys again for blessing me with a moment of your time. Stay safe, stay warm. If you're hot, turn on your fan. If you're cold, turn on your heaters. Until next time, guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.